Hi guys, welcome to the debut video of the Pressing Matters. My name is Scott Wilson and I'll be bringing you some interesting content on audiophile records, reissues, comparisons, etc. The first segment that I wanted to do was on Gil Evans' 1961 album, Out of the Cool. Out of the Cool was one of the first issues on the new Impulse label. This is the cover. The jacket is gatefold. It's quite nice for the time. This is actually a German pressing, the Alto Analogue pressing, that I picked up in 1997 when I was starting to put together the beginnings of my jazz collection. At that time, I had really only explored a few different artists: Miles Davis, Dave Brubeck, and some vocalists like Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, etc. Not really too deep a dive into jazz. When this was announced, I knew it was an important record and that I probably would want to have it in my collection. So I purchased it without really hearing it. And the Alto Analogue is considered to be a very good record, one of the best reissues of this album thus far, up until now. When I first heard the record, I didn't really get it. I didn't get the music. I didn't really appreciate it for what it is. It was a little different from what I had heard before in the jazz genre. It's an orchestrated jazz album, which is different. But over time, it did grow on me. But I have to say, this album probably only got 6 plays since 1997. It sat on my shelf pretty much all the time. And I always wondered why that was. I don't know why I didn't really get into the album. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just not ready for this type of music. But the music is really interesting, so there must be something else at work. Maybe it was my system at the time, maybe it's the pressing. When I finally had a pressing to compare it to, I kind of realized what maybe the problem was. And I'm not saying this is a bad record, but when I compared it to the new Acoustic Sounds series pressing, I realized what I'd been missing. So I don't know the mastering engineer on the Alto, but it's an excellent record, there's no doubt about it. But when I had a chance to compare it to the new pressing, this is the Acoustic Sounds Verve Universal Impulse series release. It, right off the bat, it screams quality. It's a heavy Stoughton gatefold, very glossy, beautifully done. Pressing is immaculate, done at QRP. As many of you know, this series is curated by Chad Kassem of Acoustic Sounds, and I really respect everything he does, and I respect his taste in choosing these titles. I knew, even though I wasn't really into this Alto Analogue over the years, I knew there was something special about the record. I just hadn't discovered it yet. And when I auditioned this on my home system, I realized that I was much more engaged with this pressing. The other pressing seemed like it was a little bit of a veil between me and what was going on in the music. As a result, I really wasn't getting it, you know, and when I put this on, I immediately felt enveloped in the sound stage. It's deeper, it's more defined. The instruments, as they're reproduced here, illustrated here, on the Alto, it didn't really seem like they were coming from the right place. And a matter of fact, I took time to check my connections and everything to make sure everything was in phase and in the right place, and it was. So when I heard this, everything was much more defined. Placement on the stage, the tonality was better, the details were better. It was almost like the whole soundstage was brighter. You know, I could see in. It's a great experience when you have that feeling like you can walk around the instruments and into the soundstage, and I got that with this pressing. I didn't really get it with the other. I had a chance to audition this on an all audio note system, courtesy of my friends at Soundlux Audio in Miami, who graciously let me use the listening room that has the audio note system in it to compare these pressings. And although it was much more revealing, the results were pretty much the same, although the Alto Analogue did sound better, in my opinion, on that system. The differences were a little bit less apparent, but not. This was still obviously the superior pressing to me. There wasn't any question about it, and also the other person that was there agreed that this was the pressing to have. So this is currently available. It's $35. If you want to add this title to your collection, there really is nothing to think about. Jump on this. It's already temporarily out of stock, so you might have trouble tracking one down, but I think you can get them from Acoustic Sounds directly, and that would be the best place to check it out. Overall, very impressed with the record, as I was with the whole series. Everyone has been stellar. I really haven't been disappointed with anything that's come out in this series, and they're celebrating the 60th anniversary of Impulse, so there are going to be a lot more interesting titles coming out that I've never heard before. So I'll be looking forward to taking that journey with you. This is Scott, Pressing Matters. Thank you for tuning in.